Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your coming tonight. Obviously, there's a lot of us that have been suffering a lot in the last 4 years, and I think that a lot of us have actually suffered in silence. I mean, the Justice of the 34 group really only got together about 12 months ago. We were all, I suppose, voices in the wilderness because we all knew what had gone on, but we didn't know where to go to. Where could we go and find other people who had similar views to us, or to get information about, or more information about what was going on, because of the obsessive press who just absolutely hounded the buggery out of everybody and just drove everybody to distraction. But really, we came together really by chance, and I think that we recognise quite clearly that there's been injustice through this whole 4 years, and we want to continue to fight for our 34 players. A lot of people have told me, they said, "Bob, you can't fight City Hall." And I said, bullshit, because justice in the end will win and truth will come out. It might take a while and it'll be a slow burn, as a number of people have told me. I'm patient. I'll wait. And when the time comes, we'll strike. We're ready to go. We need you people, when you go away from here tonight, to talk to other people. You'd be amazed. I would say Essendon supporters know more about the truth of this saga than anybody else. Educate them. Do what my friend Ian is here. Call bullshit on them. Say, listen, have you actually read the facts? You need to get the information. You need to find that information. It's out there. You need to go and find it. If you can't find it, contact myself or any of the other Justice of the 34 people through our Facebook page or the petition page. And there's all our Justice of the 34 members are here tonight, and you'll get to meet them later. By the way, after the lecture tonight, we're going to go to the Last Jar Hotel, little Irish pub down the road here, for a couple of drinks. So feel free to come up and talk to us. We need to spread this out. We need to get it out there in the public. When I talk about the 34, it's really 34 plus 1. That one is a very significant one, James Hird. Very significant. In ancient times, he would have been christened a martyr already. I might be accused of being part of the cult of Hird, but I'm happy and proud to wear that honour. We're going to have, I'm going to talk about the science. I'm actually, I have an honours degree in biochemistry and physiology. I've also worked for 45 years in biological therapies, pharmaceuticals, complementary medicine and medical devices, with particular emphasis on sterile products, sterile injectables. So I'll talk about some of that in my address. We're very privileged to have Dr. Jason Mazanoff from the University of New South Wales come down from Canberra. A lot of people who have followed the saga and have become interested in anti-doping would have seen Jason. He has a very in-depth knowledge of the anti-doping system and how it works and why it doesn't work. The good thing about Jason is he offers solutions, and that's what we want. We want a better system because it's not working. And Jason, I can assure you, will present some pretty compelling evidence about this anti-doping system that we're being burdened with. We've been very lucky also to gain the services of Steve Amendola, who was James's legal counsel throughout the saga. Unfortunately, he was having a knee reconstruction, but he was very kind in letting us come to his very plush boardroom and do a video interview. So you'll find the questions will actually come up as a slide, and you'll see Stephen talking to those questions. I urge you to listen very carefully because he says some quite compelling things that would interest everybody. last but not least, we have Dr. Kim Sawyer, who is a lecturer here at the Melbourne University. A lot of experience in Senate inquiries and government inquiries. Been on 8 Senate committees.
No, they appeared before.
Yeah, so has a lot of experience in how the government works, regulation, the application of the regulations, and has some very strong views which he's going to share with us tonight. So I hope you enjoy the evening. I'm going to talk about the science, and I'm also going to point out where it's let us down. In the job that I perform and have for 45 years, I tried to search for a word that actually sums up exactly what science is all about. What makes it so precise? What keeps it so, the integrity of it so strong? And the word I could come up with was rigor. And I've put up my little definition up there. So it's a very technological type. But really, it's the discipline, it's the rules, it's the regulations, it's the protocols that actually govern the industry. We look at, in a pharmaceutical company or a medical device company, if you've got an idea where you believe it may benefit the greater good of people's health, it starts off with an idea. And this is where the life cycle approach is so important, because you build quality and rigour from the very start. And you take it all the way through, from research, development, testing, test development, analysis, clinical trials, small scale manufacturing, up to large scale. And then you've got all the manufacturing facilities that actually make it. The rigour involved in designing a facility that makes these substances, drugs, whatever you want to call them, is incredible. To make a sterile facility, 1 square metre of floor space is $15,000 to $20,000. So imagine a plant that's 1,000 square metres, and then that's just building the facility. Then you've got to pull the equipment into it. A sterile filling machine, not much change out of about $2 million. So there's a lot of complicated and very expensive processes go on. You need to have a quality management system based on risk assessment. What if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What do we do? What's our backup? What's our plan? What's our recovery process? Documentation. If it ain't written down, it didn't happen. Basic science. You can have an opinion all you like, but you've got to prove it. And it's done by keeping your documentation in order. That's why if any of you did science at school, your science teacher, do your prac book, get it right, write everything down. All your test methods must be validated. They must be able to be reproducible and be able to show exactly what you're trying to measure. Also subject to independent regulator audits. Independent, completely, no boys club. They come down from the TGA in Canberra and they can close you down. They find one critical defect, they close you down. For a multi-million-dollar business, that's catastrophic. You must have all your operators in a facility like this are all very qualified, competent and trained. They do that because they put a lot of responsibility on the people who work in the plant, because they're able to identify problems before they occur, because they know the process so well. They're also the same people that come up with the ideas about how to fix it. This continuous improvement mentality. In essence, the TGA have 3, and the FDA and the English equivalent, all have 3 fundamental pillars of regulatory compliance. Safety. Is it safe to inject this product into a human? Or a tablet or a cough medicine? Is it safe? Absolutely non-negotiable. Safety. Efficacy. Now, here's a good one. Does the substance do what it says it does? Does anyone really believe that TB4 is performance enhancing? It is the greatest lot of rubbish I've ever read, and I've researched this for 4 years. I cannot find one single bit of evidence. But I'll get onto that a bit later. Reliability. Is the process by which it's made repeatable? Every batch that goes out, is it exactly the same as the one before? And is the one after exactly the same as the one before that? This is the type of rigor that's built into these processes. The consequences of making a mistake are people can die. Sounds pretty dire, but it's the truth. Because you inject somebody with a substance that's not safe, all sorts of things can happen, including the last one. Let's look at a bit of biochemistry. The amino acids, we've heard all about amino acids, and you get the amino acid powders you buy in the health food shop or the gym and things like this. They're the building blocks of proteins or peptides. Proteins are big peptides, peptides are little proteins. They're all joined together in a chain, not strands in a cable, links in a chain, right? Okay? And that's by this peptide bond. The four main elements: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. There are 20 of them. Some are essential, which means you've got to take them in your diet. Some of them are not essential. They're made in the body. The body makes them whenever they're needed. They can be joined in any order and be repeated any number of times. Imagine you've got 4 amino acids. Just take that in mind, what I've said there. They can be joined together in any order and be repeated any number of times. So you've got four amino acids, you've got 160,000 combinations. Remember, 2B4's got 43 amino acids. How many combinations is that? Do the maths. But you won't get in a hurry, I can tell you. The molecular weights of amino acids between 75 and 200. This one here, it's possible to have a peptide chain containing 43 amino acids, but a different sequence altogether, and still have the same molecular weight as 2B4. Right? So all this bullshit about mass spectroscopy, that there was a big argument in the case about, I think, Stephen Watt from the ASADA, and you had Vine from the players, and they argued, and in the end, they both agreed, both sides of the argument, that they couldn't definitively say that the test sample was 2B4. But what did WADA do? They went opinion shopping, and I found this guy in Oklahoma who runs his own company. He's a consultant. I think he's a professional. Works for WADA. He's one of their well, they call them consultants who make decisions about what goes on the list and that. And the CAS panel said, this guy presented a very compelling case, so we're going to believe what he tells us, because he told us it was 2B4. Because just remember, WADA started the whole prosecution of Essendon players based on the fact that 2B4, that we're not even going to dispute, it's 2B4, it's nothing else. So our starting point is 2B4. So what chance did the players have? They had none. So let's look at the different thymosin. Thymosin, by definition, in a lot of medical journals, is called the hormone of the thymus gland. The thymus gland is in behind the sternum, behind the lungs. And if you actually isolate all the peptides that come out of that are in the thymus gland, there's a number of them, but they all have one thing in common: they all affect the immune response. They're all important in building your immunity from a very young age. Especially, it's very active in children because they're developing their immune system when they're younger. So, by definition, thymosin is the collective name of the hormone products produced by the thymus gland. Now, the 3 particular thymosins that we're interested in, let's look at Thymosin Beta 4. As I said, 43 amino acids, molecular weight 4921, but I have seen 4963 and I've seen 4981 and a whole lot of other numbers, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. current active clinical studies. There's only 3, and they're all being run by the same company, mind you. If this was such a wonder drug everybody says it is, they'd have it marketing out there, they'd have everybody buying it, right? So let's just look at that and these are people that are compromised medically. These aren't fit guys running around. These are sick people. Heart muscle. When people have a heart attack, the heart muscle breaks down, it degenerates. 2B4 has been shown to stop that process or halt it. It's been used in the treatment of corneal ulcers in the eye and for bed sores and things like that, ulcers that develop on the skin. It's been successful in some of those, but there are, but not in any other. There's no current or published studies that indicate the efficacy of 2B4 in muscle or tissue regeneration in healthy humans, let alone athletes. 2B4 is completely safe. There's not a safety issue about it. Higher than normal recommended doses of 2B4 have been shown to be very well tolerated by patients. So if you overdose, it doesn't cause any sicknesses or any lasting ill effects. It's on the WADA ban list, but I checked the WADA website, not the ASADA website, the WADA website, and did a search on Thymosin Beta 4. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. I looked on the ASADA site, and I knew that was there because I knew that it went on in 2015. So it wasn't there before 2015. So how does who did we recruit in 2012? Heppel was before that, I think. Anyway, how's the 18-year-old going to try and find 2B4? Because it wasn't there. So all this rubbish that McDevitt comes out with, anyway, don't get me started on him. So it's now registered by the TGA, actually, 2B4. If anyone wants to go and get some. Let me just go through a couple. Here's the scientific facts. Here's the extent of what we know 2B4 can do. If you're looking on the internet, you want to know if there's anything out there that's going to make me feel good, okay? Go on the web and you can see all these sites, marketing sites, who are advertising use and promoting 2B4 as a wonder drug. And this is actually printed out. It's freely available. Increases red blood cells, okay? Increase in endurance. Yeah, okay. Reduce tie-up, that's cramp. Promote hair growth. Thank you. Beautiful. Helps breathing. Yes, okay, I thought that was a pretty natural. It decreases your stomach acid and therefore reduces the chance of ulcers. It repairs tendons and ligaments. Ben would love that one. Keratinocyte, they're just your skin cells. Collagen is the most prolific protein in your body. It holds everything together and it stops inflammation. So why wouldn't you take it? It's fantastic, this stuff. Have a look at this. Here we go. This is the sort of ad you get on the internet. This is from a medical rejuvenation clinic. Specialising in age rejuvenation, well-being. Yeah, we all want to feel good. Sports medicine, HRT, hormone replacement therapy. We've got any hormone you want, we'll give it to you. They've got a whole list. They've got all the growth hormone analogues, a whole lot. If you want to look at their shopping list, they've got a whole lot. Plasma replacement, platelet-rich plasma. Okay, stem cells. Fantastic. So this is the sort of thing. So you see that and you go, I want to look like her. Or I want to look like these guys here. This is what I want to look like. So why, marketing. This is the sort of stuff you're up against. Thymosin alpha-1, well, that got disbanded pretty quickly. I remember distinctly that during the ASADA case that their scientific expert, Dr. David Handelsman, made the comment that Thymosin alpha was not registered. Got news for him. It's been registered in the US for 3 years. And this was only just recently that he said that. So it is a registered product in the US by the FDA. It's not on the ban list anyway, so that was dismissed fairly early on. Thymomodulin. It's a purified mixture of thymosins isolated from the thymus gland. Okay? Molecular weights, clinical studies, enhances T-cell formulation and immunological function. So it's an immune stimulator. This is from the British Journal of Medical Oncology and Tumour Pharmacology, which sounds a bit of a mouthful, but prestigious journal. Symptoms of disease pose infections, allergies and malignancies. Not on the WADA list. Okay, just keep that in mind for a minute. Here we go. Did anyone pick up the fact that the descriptor of thymosin and thymomodulin stand very similar? Anyone pick that up? So the Dictionary of Natural Medicine, it's the first place that I found it, extract from the thymus gland. It's old technology. It's not new technology. But under extract from the thymus gland, you'll find all those names. And, damn me, thymomodulin and thymosin, they're the same. This is in the Dictionary of Natural Medicine. And I can tell you, and a lot of people probably know this already, thanks to my son Josh, he got this on FOI. Must be the only person in Australia that actually got freedom of information from ASADA. Must be the only one. Put your hand up, Josh. Good on you, mate. He got through. You know, I thought, who's this guy? But we've got the copy is there. Stephen Watt is their scientific and results manager for ASADA. He's their senior science medical consultant. He's since left. Must have had a blue with Benny, I think. But he contacted by email his equivalent at WADA headquarters in Montreal. I wanted to, this is in July 2012. So this is well before Dank was there in November 2012. This is July 2012. I want to inquire if WADA has considered the prohibitive status of thymomodulin, also known as thymosin. What do we think of that? How plain can it be? I mean, there's a lot of other evidence. I mean, James' directive, which has been quite well publicised about the fact that he wanted it WADA compliant. I mean, McDevitt is, he flip-flops between all the different types of thymosin. I don't think he knows what a thymosin is. But he admitted that thymosin was on the consent forms. He admitted that. So just go back to the previous slide. Thymomodulin. He's happy with thymomodulin. Not before. There's the photos in the fridge. The Job Watson testimony, I mean, the poor bloody Job, if he hasn't been through enough already. Even Dean Robinson, our friend Dean Robinson, made it quite clear in his testimony that it wasn't TB4. He'd never heard of TB4. He said the only two thymosins we spoke about was thymomodulin and thymosin. They're the only two words that we used. TB4. The terabytes of information they dragged off the Essendon computers. TB4, not there. You'd reckon in, I don't know how many terabytes it was.
5.2.
There you go. My son takes after his dad. You know, so they didn't. There wasn't nothing there. There was the thymomodulin spreadsheet that we've heard about, but that was all evidence that somehow got lost. I just wanted to talk briefly about. Does actually anyone really know what performance enhancement is? It occurred to me it's a very nebulous sort of thing. But performance enhancement, I mean, I put up just a few things. They came to my mind straight away. all the different types of things you can do to enhance performance, cross training and strength training for anaerobic fitness. And you've got, cardiovascular training, running, for your midfielders who are running huge distances every game. And then you've got the whole recovery thing of, the massage, the physio, Lara, use of anti-inflammatories, medical marker mapping. I'm going to talk about that. These players have blood samples taken all the time. Their physiology, their biochemistry is mapped. Each player is different. You've got the Tommy Dell Chambers at 204 centimetres, whatever he is. You've got little Darcy Parrish running around about 5'10", 5'11". You've got guys that weigh 75 kilos and guys that weigh 115 kilos. All different. They're all unique. And it's important, and I'll talk about this a bit later. Nutrition, diet and hydration, very important. I was just saying to Jason before, a mutual friend of ours, Ben Coe, had made the observation that if WADA had their way, they'd declare sunshine and water as performance enhancing. Interesting comment. And painkillers. Was it 20 odd syringes found in the Swans change room after their last premiership? All that contained painkillers. Painkillers, there are a number of painkillers, injectable painkillers, which are performance enhancing because they increase blood pressure, which increases blood flow, which delivers more oxygen to the muscles. So that's got to be performance enhancing. Yet, anyone remember Mickey McGuan running around? He had an injection, he could hardly walk, he was falling over on the field. Everyone remember that? Crazy. But they're still doing it. You can still get away with this. And then this is Jason's specialty here, we've got all the psychological factors, all the things that are used to get their mind right. Sleep, meditation, all these mind games. Let's face it, most sports played above here because everyone's fit. But the mind games. How do we measure the effectiveness of a performance-enhancing drug when you've got all these other factors built into it as well? How do you do that? I'm going to have a bit of a go at a few people here. Hope they're not here. Now, our good friend Dr. Peter Harcourt, very well-respected medical, very well, obviously he does a great job, but he let himself down a little bit and he was severely criticised, as much as you can severely criticise the AFL when you've got an AFL-accredited media, but the press weren't too happy about the fact that he let the cat out of the bag by letting everybody know that what all the Essendon players were supposed to have taken before they'd even had their show cause notices. That was very professional of him. So I love this slide. I love it. HGH releasing substances. Have Essendon, has any growth hormone product ever been mentioned about being used at Essendon in the entire 4 years? No. This is your GHRP6, GHRP2, all those growth hormone releasing substances, CJ31295. Sections of the HGH molecule, AOD9604. They mucked that one up. It was banned? No, it's not banned. No, it is banned. No, it's not. Joe ran around for 6 months with that hanging over his head. He was booed mercilessly all around Australia as being a drug taker. The AFL knew about it in February. ASADA knew about it. Yet it took them 6 months. Oh, it's not banned. And the poor buggers have to give up his Brownlow. I'm getting angry now, sorry. Okay, so dementia therapy. Well, that's cerebrolysine. Cerebrolysine is a drug that people can take. They give it to people as a treatment for vascular dementia. But it's used also for people to make them mentally aware. It's a cognitive enhancer, makes you alert. You can imagine the players, ready to go. Veterinary products. There's so many. I think this is in reference to TB4 because it was used on horses. It still is used on horses. But there are any amount of drugs in the pharmacopoeia that are used both in veterinary and in humans. So that's no. And the old other and unknown substances. Now, it was at this particular start of his address that he mentioned, and I got to remember this now, he said an exotic substance exotic Mexican substance used for the treatment of muscular dystrophy was one of these exotic drugs that the players were getting. About 7 months after this seminar that he went to, you know what it actually was? It was a amino acid blend from a FDA registered manufacturer in New Mexico, which last time I looked was on the American map, and it was purchased by a Melbourne man suffering from muscular dystrophy. So if you ever have a chance to look at that, and my friend Walter here's got a copy of the whole address, you'll actually hear it on this particular slide. Most did not have TGA approval. Well, some of them don't need TGA approval. And it's probably like some of them didn't have. But you can buy this stuff online. And if a doctor prescribes it, you can use it. So substances around the edge of the WADA list, and as JP would say, but not over, on the edge. It's all right to be on the edge. Every elite sportsman are always on the edge. Lack of nutritional content, well, that's a matter of opinion. I would have thought amino acid blends would have been reasonably nutritious. Most athletes of the team are involved. That's all right, as long as it's not illegal. And the key implementation role, and he was very sceptical of this sports scientist, obviously referring to our friend Stephen Dank. But he seemed to forget that the AFL's glamour team, Gold Coast Suns, he worked for them. What's happened to Nathan Bock? Anyone know what happened to Nathan Bock? I don't know. $200 million I was thinking a year into Gold Coast Suns. And Stephen Dank and Dean Robinson were working for them. Where did they go next? Kinnear Park, down there. Shell Stadium, whatever it's called these days. Patterson, I don't know. Down there. Is their premierships tainted? Does anyone think they might be tainted? Do you think Dank might have taken his processes with him no matter where he went? He was using it at Gold Coast Suns, we know that. Then he went to Essendon. But in the same time he went to Geelong. I'm not saying anything about Geelong. Love the Cats. But, it's... But, Stephen Dank, he's only became a wizard when he went to Essendon. I don't know Stephen personally, but I think that he's never been found guilty of doing anything at Essendon, mind you. Never been found. ASADA, I'll go through this quickly. Our friend McDevitt, he in his address before the Senate's estimates, he continually used the words performance-enhancing drugs, banned drugs, plural. The only banned drug was TB4, not drugs. He flip-flopped the use of Thymosin and TB4, which I've already shown is scientifically flawed. This is a guy who chased Essendon players for 2 years. He didn't even know what part of the code TB4 was in. He didn't even know. And then they fumbled for about 20 minutes at Senate estimates. Oh, S2, oh yeah, but it could be in S0. No, we think it's in S2. But then we had his legal counsel, Perdico Giannis, something like that, Ellen. And she said, oh no, look, we think it's a masking agent. Well, you can't find that anywhere in any scientific papers that TB4 can be used as a masking agent for other drugs. Okay. He didn't know why TB4 is banned, but nobody knows why it's banned, so he's probably off the hook on that one. WADA. Geez. The Russian doping, 4 years they sat on that. 4 years. And nothing was done. Craig Reedy. What an imbecile. Lack of a validated test method. There's a guy called Andrus Verpalou. He's an Estonian endurance skier, long-distance skier. He was found to have human growth hormone in his blood. He was subsequently rubbed out. Now, at the latest time I looked, there wasn't a test method available that could measure growth hormone directly. It was an indirect method looking at other molecules produced by the breakdown of human growth hormone, which is an endogenous hormone anyway. But what they did was they've got this mathematical model that they use to determine how much is there. The mathematical model was found by a group of American, I believe they were American biostatisticians, or they're just glorified mathematicians who work in that particular field, proved that the whole mathematical model was flawed, and he got off. They went to Kaz, and Kaz had no choice but to dismiss the charge. We've all heard about Claudia Pechstein, the German speed skater, the most medalled Olympic athlete in German's history. 9 medals she's won in the Olympics. She's been persecuted for how many years, I don't know. She had an abnormality in her blood. She had no drugs, there was nothing else detected, just found this abnormality in her blood. Oh, there must be something wrong. We think you might have taken something. We don't know what it is, but we think you might have taken something. She's fought that through Kaz, through the German federal court, and she's won some and lost some. She's still going. In actual fact, she had a genetic issue handed over from her father, which caused some of her blood cells to have unusual shapes. A bit like, people who have anemia, aplastic anemia, their red cells actually, instead of being round and like a donut, they become all shriveled up. So therefore they're less likely to carry oxygen. Meldonium. Well, we know what happened to meldonium. This is one of the real absolute doozies. In 2015, in January, the WADA people meet and they get information in from all their different groups who tell them what drugs have been picked up, what they've picked up, what's flavour of the month, what are they using, what are they using in competition. And they get this all information and they disseminate it out to all these other people, to test labs. And they get all this information and they have 5 meetings during the year, at which stage they're discussing all the technical, scientific detail of each particular drug. In October, they decided they were going to put, the evidence was strong, they were going to put meldonium on the 2016 January 1 banned list. What happened in the first month of January after it was on the ban list, 200 athletes tested positive for meldonium. 200 athletes. They couldn't work out why. Rigor. All the scientists, all their scientific experts had overlooked the pharmacokinetic data. Pharmacokinetics is when you take a drug, how long does it stay in the body for? What does it break down into when it's actually used up by the body? And all those things are important because it determines how often you're going to get a dosage of the stuff and how much the dosage is. So you want to know how long it's going to stay in there. They've since released a revised testing protocol for meldonium, which says that in September 30th, if you took meldonium on the 1st of January 2016, there was a chance you were still going to have it in your system in September 2016, 9 months. And that's just lack of rigour. That's lack of attention to detail. These are people who should know better. 2B4. Well, they don't know. They can't tell the difference between endogenous, which is naturally occurring, and exogenous, injected. They don't know. They can't tell them apart. So they also don't know. In all of us sitting here tonight, we'll give a blood sample. What the resting amount of TB4 would be in your system. They don't know what that is. So when you're injured, they say that the Thymosin Beta 4 will be found around the damaged or the broken muscle, for want of a better word. And that's probably true. So, you know. But the problem is that the body is an amazing thing. It recognises when things are in excess. Like with insulin, when you produce insulin. Your body will produce insulin to a point where it's done what it's supposed to do. Then the body has a feedback mechanism and it produces an antagonistic peptide that stops it from producing anymore. Otherwise, insulin just keep going. Same with TB4. If you've already got endogenous TB4 there and you give them another injection, it might be a complete waste of time because the body will just get rid of it because it doesn't need it because it's already there. So how are they going to tell the difference? Probably fair to say the substances on the ban list are based on speculation, not validated scientific evidence. Just a little tidbit for you here. The budget for WADA in 2015 was just under 30 million. Have a look at that. So, doesn't make sense, does it? Will probably make sense if you know what WADA's like, but you would think that salaries, you work it out, they've got 80 people working for them, WADA, 80 people on their staff. Do the maths, it works out at $178,000 a year per employee. You'd all like to be on $178,000 a year, wouldn't you? 178,000 Australian dollars a year. Travel. What's your name? That's his name. John Fahey, Harmon, Dick Pound, Craig Reedy. Travel. Consultants, admin. 63.2% of their budget on those things. There's a few others there as well, which are probably normal in any business. But look at this. Research, they spent 4.4. That's pretty good. But it's still, those three together are only 16%. Education, $52,000. Testing, $500,000. As Jason quite rightly said before, a lot of the testing is subcontracted out to the testing agencies like ASADA, USADA, all the rest. But, just a little bit of information you can bring out at some time when someone's trying to defend WADA. I'm going to put an alternative view. So I'm going to say that Thymomodulin is a cornerstone of our supplements program. We know that when players are fatigued or athletes are fatigued, after a match, they're spent. They're on the floor in the change room. They're buggered. And they take a few days to recover. When your body's in that debilitated state, it's very, very vulnerable to respiratory type infections, flu-like infections. You know yourself in your everyday life, if you've got a very physical job and you've had a lot of pressure on at home with the family and a whole lot of other things are all mounting up, you just feel run down. In that particular state, you're a prime target to pick up some sort of infection. So also, when the body's trying to fight off this infection, then its ability to recover is compromised because your body can't do all these things at once. It's trying to fight off this disease that's trying to overtake them. So therefore they can't do the rehab that they'd normally do. So in the middle of winter, of course, you get all the flus and that going around. But as I said before about this health map, they get blood taken all the time. So they know exactly how their body's behaving. And there's a lot of markers. And one of the key markers is in the blood cells. There can be, if people have been in contact with a particular virus, it'll show up in their antibodies. They'll have some abnormal antibody cells there, which is a marker which could mean 2 days, in 48 hours, that person's going to start to show external signs of having the flu. But if you know 2 days before, you can boost them with an immune response. It's going to activate the immune system straight away. So it would make sense to have a program where you kept their immune system vital and operating. makes good science. It's good science to do that. So it's used as a preventative strategy, not a treatment. Whereas 2B4 is a treatment. And as I said before about the about having excess, having a 2B4 injection is one thing, but your body's already got it there anyway. It's already producing it naturally. So it may be just an extra injection pushes it above a certain limit and it's just going to be disposed of in the body. So my conclusion, my mark for the science is a fail. Sorry guys, you have to go back and reset the test. So 4 points here, and I'm taking stealing a bit of Kim's thunder here, but failure to consult all scientific evidence and inherent uncertainty in that evidence. Okay. Failure to consult, include and to weigh all scientific opinion. So you can read the other two. So, as far as I'm concerned as a scientist, I'm not an expert. I would never profess to be an expert, but I am a biochemist and physiologist, and I have a lot of experience. And to me, this is a stitch-up. I thank you all, and go you mighty Bombers.